Welcome to Social Influence, Lesson 7, Milgram's 1963 study of obedience to authority. My name is Nick Redshaw and I have over 16 years experience of teaching A-level psychology. I'm also co-author of the highly successful Independent Learner series of student workbooks that is available on Amazon. So, Milgram's research. Milgram's 1963 study of obedience to authority, the aim. Milgram, 1963, was interested in seeing how situational factors will make ordinary people inflict harm on others, even when they knew it was morally incorrect. The procedures. In a controlled observation, 40 male volunteers were selected to take part and were told that it was a test of learning. The participants were assigned the role of teacher and a confederate played the role of a learner. A word association test was the learning task, and participants were instructed to deliver an electric shock of 15 volts to the learner for each incorrect answer, rising to a maximum of 450 volts. The teacher and learner were in a separate room, but the participants were able to hear the learner. The role of the experimenter was played by a stern, impassive-looking person wearing a grey technician's coat. If at any time the participant indicated his desire to stop the experiment, he was given a succession of verbal commands by the experimenter in this order. Please continue. The experiment requires you to continue. It is absolutely essential that you continue. You have no choice, you must go on. If the participant still wished to stop after all 4 successive commands, the experiment was stopped. Otherwise, it was stopped after the participant had given the maximum 450 volt shock 3 times in succession. As the strength of the shocks increased by 15 volts, the pre-recorded screams of the learner became more dramatic. After 180 volts, he began complaining of a weak heart, and after 300 volts, he would bang on the walls demanding to leave. Obedience was measured by the strength of the electric shock administered by the participants, which was on a scale of 15 to 450 volts, with 15 volt increments for each wrong answer. The results. All participants gave shocks up to 300 volt level, and 65% of participants continued to the highest fatal level of 450 volts. Qualitative data was also collected which showed marked effects on the participants' behaviour, with most showing signs of extreme tension such as trembling, sweating and groaning, and 3 had uncontrollable seizures. The conclusions. Milgram found that obedience was due to situational factors, the experimental setting, status of the experimenter, and the pressure to continue, rather than dispositional factors such as the deviant personality of the Nazi soldiers. If you are using one of our workbooks, or your teacher has downloaded our workbook from TES, then complete the following tasks in the space provided. If not, complete the following tasks on a piece of paper. Firstly, the participants in Milgram's study did not know until the end of the experiment that no shocks were actually administered. What are the ethical implications of this? For 2 marks. You may want to pause the video at this point in order to write your answer. Okay, welcome back. This question is worth 2 marks of AO3 and 2 marks for each ethical issue that is clear with a brief explanation of what can be dealt with in social influence research. So simply, as the participants did not know all the correct details of the study, they could not have given their informed consent. In addition, as they believed they were actually given live shocks to the learner, they were deceived. Other examples may be psychological distress. Obviously, clearly from the research there was evidence of psychological distress. Okay. So now have a go at the next question. Here you've got a little scenario. On and Holland 1968 and Perry 2013 claim that the participants in Milgram's study only behaved the way they did because they knew the research setting was set up and that the electric shocks were not real. Therefore, Milgram's study lacks internal validity. Now, this scenario, your teacher may not have actually looked at Holland or Perry. Our books cover it, but AQA can include it in the scenario. I mean, clearly the question here is, therefore Milgram's study lacks internal validity. What qualitative data do we have that shows that Milgram's research has high internal validity? For 2 marks, you may want to pause the video at this point in order to write your answer. Okay, welcome back. Again, this is 2 marks of AO3, and the mark schemes state 2 marks for a clear outline of qualitative research findings from Milgram's study that shows it has high internal validity. Possible suggestions here: simply, qualitative data was collected which showed signs of severe stress. The participants showed signs of extreme tension such as trembling, sweating and groaning, and 3 had uncontrollable seizures. It is unlikely that if the students knew it was not real, they would have reacted like this. It suggests that they did believe they were hurting the learner and that the study has high internal validity. Okay, that brings us to the end of this session.